What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another edition of The Legal Submission. And this time we take a look at the Oliver Luck-Vince McMahon lawsuit, which is starting to heat up once again. You may recall that this is the lawsuit in which Oliver Luck is suing Vince McMahon for unpaid salary that he claims he was due as part of a personal guarantee when he was XFL commissioner last spring. He is said to be owed $23.8 million, and the XFL is not paying. Vince McMahon, even though there is a personal guarantee for the amount, states that he was fired for cause, which is a part of the employment contract of Oliver Luck. And there were several reasons in which McMahon stated that Luck was fired. The first being of which he did not provide notice regarding leaving the XFL offices in Connecticut. When the pandemic hit, Luck left back home to Indiana in March, and McMahon claims that he apparently essentially left his post as the XFL commissioner at a time when the organization needed him. Then there is the issue of signing players that McMahon did not want to have signed. Notably, a player by the name of Antonio Callaway is citing that he had a past in which he failed drug tests, and he had also some other legal issues which McMahon did not want to have as far as players as part of the league. McMahon's league, the XFL at the time, was owned by the XFL, so all the teams were owned by umbrella of the XFL. So McMahon had a edict in which he did not want to have players who did not follow some sort of code of conduct from the XFL, and this included players who had past legal troubles, as well as any other offenses that McMahon deemed inappropriate. Luck had signed this player, and McMahon claimed that he was not immediately terminated once McMahon knew about this. There is some speculation as far as that, which we'll get into. And the final issue was the iPhone. Company issued iPhone of Oliver Luck. McMahon or the XFL had demanded he turn it over. It took a while for Luck to turn it over, and then when he turned it over, it appeared as though he had deleted some information. So let's first look at the XFL termination letter as it was sent to Oliver Luck, and see how the XFL and Alpha Entertainment handled things. Essentially, they outline reasons why he was fired. The reason, first, was to step back. The reason why they send this letter is to insulate themselves from any issues concerning having to pay off the personal guarantee, because in the employment contract, if Luck was fired for cause, the XFL and Alpha Entertainment presumably would be off the hook to pay him the rest of his amount of salary as being XFL commissioner. So one of the paragraphs starts by saying, during your tenure as XFL, during your tenure at the XFL, there were numerous instances of gross negligence in the performance of your duties, including, but not limited to, the manner and methods used by you in obtaining venues for the XFL to locate teams, and in connection with the negotiation of term sheets and venue agreements. Additionally, you disregarded the lawful directives of Mr. McMahon not to sign or employ players with questionable backgrounds. It goes on to indicate in the letter We further note that on March 13th, after the XFL had to cancel the rest of the season due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you stated that you were going back to Indiana and expressed uncertainty as to how long the pandemic would last. Since then, except for occasional emails, you have been disengaged from the XFL and its efforts to deal with the complications of the COVID-19 pandemic and its efforts to determine if there was a viable path forward for the XFL. You have not initiated so much as a single phone call to Mr. McMahon to report on any work-related activities, nor exhibited any of the vigor and work ethic required of a CEO of a startup enterprise in these trying times. You certainly have not devoted substantially all of your business time to the performances of your duties since March 13th, which itself is grossly negligent under the circumstances. And finally, they talk about the iPhone as well, and how it was not returned, and there were several things that were deleted from the iPhone. Well, obviously, that is a very damning depiction of Oliver Luck, and his attorneys responded in kind in a letter that was dated April 16th, 2020. And essentially, they rebut all of the arguments made by Jerry McDevitt. They rebut all the arguments made by Jerry McDevitt, the attorney for Alpha Entertainment and XFL, and also, for those that know, is a longtime attorney for the WWE and the McMahon family. The letter from Luck's attorney notes, your contention that Mr. Luck has not devoted substantially all of his business time to performance of his duties as commissioner and CEO of the XFL is meritless. Your apparent lack of knowledge regarding Mr. Luck's business activities and numerous communications with XFL employees and officers, including Mr. McMahon, is surprising since, as their counsel, you have access to the records, texts, and emails of Alpha and Mr. McMahon. Certainly, that paragraph is a kind of FU to Jerry McDevitt as far as the termination letter. The plaintiff's letter goes on to talk about the issues outlined in the termination letter. It first notes that in bankruptcy court, the XFL president and COO, Jeffrey Pollock, noted that the XFL was a remarkable success as a startup venture during Mr. Luck's tenure as the commissioner, which goes into direct opposition to the statements that Luck was derelict in his duties as the commissioner. The letter also goes on to state that Oliver Luck didn't unilaterally select venues and stadiums. More along the lines, it was a team effort, as the letter states, and says that Mr. McMahon's authorization and approval was always warranted at the end of the day. So they indicate that the contention that Oliver Luck was doing something off the boards as a commissioner was incorrect. And as well as the Antonio Callaway situation, in which they point out that one of the XFL players had a sordid past, he claims that Oliver Luck claims he followed Mr. McMahon's directive to upgrade the quality of receivers in the XFL by signing Antonio Callaway, but when Mr. McMahon indicated he wanted Callaway terminated, Oliver Luck did so at his directive. It's also noted that when Luck went home to Indiana, he did remain engaged with XFL staff. However, he notes that Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, was busy preparing for WrestleMania, which was occurring at the end of April. And so he states that Mr. Luck communicated with Mr. McMahon via text, which Vince wanted, and McMahon communicated about a potential XFL championship game and discussed player safety. So those things probably could pop up in text from McMahon to Luck, or from Luck to McMahon. So that could be evidence of that would help and support Luck. So where are we right now? The second amended complaint was just filed in January. XFL, McMahon, and Alpha Entertainment have already filed a motion to dismiss the second amended lawsuit, and so we'll get some more briefing upon that. So the big issues right now to look at are the employment agreement that was sent by Oliver Luck, or submitted by Oliver Luck. It states that, hey, there was no time for me to cure any issues that they claim to have with me, and there was nothing written. Otherwise, that would be submitted. McMahon and the XFL will argue that he still had he was a derelict in his time as commissioner, and he should be terminated. The overarching thing here is that we do have this issue of the contract interpretation, and it would seem that unless the XFL and Mr. McMahon submitted information that he should straighten out his act as commissioner, or any written information related to that, there was no period to cure. How that will be interpreted by the court, we shall see, because one could see a breach of contract in that on the part of McMahon, not Luck, because McMahon was the individual that was supposed to abide by this employment agreement. So if he did have a problem with Luck, he would have had to have given him a 30-day notice, or a notice to cure within 30 days, and he did not. So we'll talk about this more in the coming days. Jason Cruz, the legal submission. Follow me on my YouTube, or you could check out MMA Payout, or also the newsletter. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.